This morning, law enforcement agencies are on high alert for retaliation following a series of U.S. airstrikes against Iran. Good morning, I'm Lawrence Gafidi. These strikes hit 3 Iranian nuclear sites across the country. President Trump says he hopes this will push Iranian leaders back to negotiations for a nuclear deal. Karen Kaifa is live at our nation's capital with this developing story.
These strikes, President Trump delivered a blow to Iran's nuclear ambitions. The Pentagon this morning giving new details about what the military codenamed Operation Midnight Hammer. It included more than 125 U.S. military aircraft, including half a dozen B-2 stealth bombers, and the mission lasted about 25 minutes. President Donald Trump addressing the nation, announcing the United States had, in his words, successfully hit Iranian nuclear sites.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
American B-2 bombers were used to strike the key sites, Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. Sources familiar with the operation say the strikes involved so-called bunker buster bombs, 30,000-pound bombs with 6,000 pounds of explosives. It's believed to be the only ordnance able to reach deeply buried facilities, and it's the first known instance of the bomb being used in a military strike.
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror.
Trump called Iran the, quote, bully of the Middle East and says now is the time to make a deal.
There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days.
But Iran is downplaying the impact of the strikes and says diplomacy is only possible with an end to the violence.
As long as there are attacks, negotiations will be meaningless.
Following the U.S. attacks, Israel and Iran continued trading missile strikes for a 9th day as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu lauded Trump's actions and echoed calls for peace.
His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace.
And this morning, Hegseth emphasized that the operation was limited and did not target Iranian military or civilians and was not aimed at regime change nor open-ended. Hegseth says that the U.S. has been sending public and private messages to Iran in an effort to bring them to the negotiation table. Live in Washington this morning, I'm Karen Kaifa. Now back to you.
Here at home, Democrats are promising checks and balances on the president's military power. Colorado Congressman Jason Crow wrote that President Trump broke a promise to keep America from entering new conflicts. He also accused the president of exceeding his authority. Republican Congressman Jeff Hurd, who represents Colorado's southern and western communities, expressed support for the strikes. In a post on X, he wrote that he, quote, fully supports actions taken to prevent an evil regime from being able to harm us, Israel, and our other allies. We will, of course, continue to cover the impacts of these strikes throughout the day. Download the 9 News app on your smartphone. After hitting 100 degrees today, we're looking at dipping down to the low 90s. In Denver, families headed to Confluence Park to cool off in the water. Meanwhile, some visitors are finding some relief up in the mountains that are still covered in snow on the trails.
Some of the national forests around Rocky Mountain National Park might be alternatives to get up into that high elevation and jump into one of those refreshing alpine lakes, which is a great way to escape the heat down here in Denver.
That is the truth, but no matter where you are this weekend, hydration is key. Organizers for last night's weekend concert told us that they added medical staff and some more water refill stations. Let's get on over to Weather Impact meteorologist Jaden Knowles. Jaden, it's funny that we're talking about cooling down, but we're still in the 90s.
Yeah, you know, another hot day is expected this afternoon. Not as quite as hot as yesterday, but still we're in the 90s. So yeah, a hot day. But then as we head into next week, we're talking about cooler temperatures, maybe some rain chances. We'll talk about that here shortly. So far, your current temperatures, as you're heading out the door, maybe going to church or on a nice little jog, you can see temperatures are already in the upper 70s. DIA, you're at 69 degrees right now, but of course you will see warm temperatures once again this afternoon. Here's your current temperatures across the state, the upper 60s, low 70s, already at 81 degrees in Ray there, and then also 50s and 60s in the high country. So everyone across the state will be seeing the warm temperatures as well as the breezy conditions. There's that red flag warning for the western slopes. So far, wind conditions isn't too terrible, but they are going to increase throughout the afternoon. Here's your Magic 8 forecast. You can see temperatures, the upper 80s by midday this afternoon, 2 p.m. the low 90s, and we should see a high of 93 degrees this afternoon. So, of course, your main weather headline, storm chances increasing as we head into tomorrow, and as well as cooler conditions on the way. We'll have more details about that in my full forecast. Lauren?
Jaden, thank you so much. A man is in custody this morning after police say he tried to kidnap an 8-year-old girl from her grandmother. It happened at the Safeway near Kipling and Bellevue. Police say Bradley Wilson walked up to the girl and her grandmother while they were shopping and tried to get the girl into his car twice. The girl broke away the first time. Store employees got involved the second time. Wilson is due back in court tomorrow. We have an update to a story we brought you as breaking news yesterday. A 1-year-old girl is safe after the Arapahoe County deputies say she was taken by 2 people who did not have custody of her. They've since been arrested. This was in relation to that Amber Alert you got around 6 in the morning yesterday. Sky 9 flew over the area in Centennial where deputies found the suspect's car. Later in the morning, they told us that the girl was found in North Glen. We'll update you as soon as we learn more about what happened. The man accused of injuring more than a dozen people in an anti-Semitic attack in Boulder will be back in federal court on Friday. Mohammed Solomon faces federal hate crime charges. He also faces attempted first-degree murder charges at the state level. Meantime, his family is sitting in a Texas detention center. His wife and 5 children say they knew nothing about this attack. The family got to the U.S. back in 2022 on a 6-month visitor visa. The Trump administration says they will be deported. Lawyers for the family are calling for their release. A federal appeals court has blocked Louisiana from displaying the 10 Commandments in public schools and universities. The law was passed last year. A group of 9 families had filed a lawsuit and argued that the law violated the separation of church and state. Supporters argued the 10 Commandments is a historical document and it's part of the foundation of American law. Just last night, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed a similar bill requiring the 10 Commandments to be displayed in every public school classroom. At the U.S. Capitol, Republicans may have some trouble passing the so-called Big Beautiful Budget Bill. Today, the Senate parliamentarian ruled that some proposals to cut SNAP benefits do not follow Senate rules. One of the key provisions in question would force states to cover some of the cost of benefits. Another would restrict eligibility so that only U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents of the country could get food stamps. Republicans say they're looking at their options. They've said that they want to vote on the budget bill next week. The Safeway strike expanded again this weekend with more workers hitting the picket line in Aurora on Saturday. According to social media posts from the union, workers at the location near Mississippi and Buckley joined the strike. New stores have been added almost every day since the strike started last Sunday. It's not clear when the strike might end. The 2 sides spent 3 days in negotiations this week. Union officials say the company is not willing to offer an agreement that meets their needs. Safeway says it's disappointed that some of the workers have chosen to strike.